Welcome back to Because We're Here. So last time we cheated and calmed down Mr. Lear. Then we had some closing or goodbye for now talks with Wolfgang and Eugen. And now we are about to have the same talk with August, so let's see how this will go. I see August standing on his own, looking up at the post office. I knew you would be here. Elfriede. Saying goodbye to the old post office, eh? I understand if that's the most important farewell you have to give. You said you'd follow on from the pub, but you never came. I was waiting for... Not that you're... I've got lots of... I was going to visit Hilda's grave. Shush! You want to go inside? I produced the post office keys from my satchel and jangled them in front of him. I feel knowing and mysterious. I feel cool. How would you get the key? How would you get the key? 5-finger discount? I feel very cool. Discount? Would you have paid for it otherwise, surely? Wait, I'm lost. What do you mean? I'm still feeling cool. I can save this. It was actually quite a misleading comment. No, Mrs. Miller gave it to me because I'm consistently the most trustworthy employee, and I always complete my work on time and to a high standard. Oh, okay, that's the least cool thing I've ever said. Sure. Well, there should still be stuff in the kitchen to make a pot of tea. Sounds good. What a statement to make. I can kill people. A bold opener to any conversation, indeed, Elfriede, indeed. Stop it, shut up. I was thinking about what you said and you think you can do it? August, I only say this once more, I swear. But I'm serious. You're kind of, a little bit, the last person in the world that should be in the army. And I'm not sure you thought this through. August raises his head bullishly and seemingly unconsciously clenches his hands into a fist atop his knee. Gone is the nervous smile from outside. I thought it through, believe me. I thought it through. August, the war only broke out this morning. It's been coming for months. Everyone's seen it coming a mile off. August nearly shouting now. I motion for him to consider the hour, and he continues in a hushed, but not less frenzied tone. I've been waiting for this for so long. I've been reading the newspapers. Do you have any idea how hard that is? Some of them use huge words. But I persevered, because every day I've been hoping this damned war's finally get going, and I've been praying for this. Yeah, right. You don't understand how important it is. You don't understand how long I've been waiting to be a man. August, I don't know what to tell you. You are a man. But I'm not. Okay, maybe technically. But not really. Not a real one. Just August Whale, the sissy from the post office. Ah, yes, toxic masculinity. Teaching guys they apparently have to die for honor or they are not a man. August Whale, very much the wrong voice. August Whale lost every game and failed every exam. August Whale chatting with old ladies and daydreaming at his desk every single day of his life. When is it ever going to be relevant whether you're a man? Alright, a real man or not. I know what you're trying to say, but it doesn't matter. I can't explain. You don't understand. Women don't understand. Yeah, right. I do not understand. I don't want to kill anyone, and I really don't want to do that. But when I think of what's at stake. What? What do you think is at stake? I know why I have a reason to why I have to fight. Oh god, why is everyone fighting for you? I will fight for you. Oh god, this nonsense again. Eugen just said a very similar thing. Apparently this entire war is being waged in my best interests. I had no idea. What? Eugen said that? I mean, he was pretty much... that's what he meant. Let's not kid ourselves. He was giving some very strong signals there. So let's not make it more wishy-washy. I know you're all trying very hard. Eugen, why would he... Why would he? He can't have meant that, because why would Eugen get personally wrapped up in this? This war isn't a personal thing, and yet... What have you said? Not even a minute ago. This is a national cause. The nation's boys must become men. That's the important thing. That wasn't what you were saying earlier? Well, obviously for me it's personal. Personal pertains to oneself, and in my case, that self is me. But for everyone else, it's a national issue. Are you sure? Flawless. Listen, everyone's saying that the risk of death is low, but I don't care if I'm one of the unlucky ones. Or one of the lucky few, as Eugen puts it. August, this is ridiculous. How can you say that? Because I don't care if I die if it's for you. I care. August? No, not August. Listen to me. I can do this. August. I appreciate the sentiment. I think. But that isn't the sort of thing you can go around saying at a time like this. How is any of this appropriate? And this isn't going to help me, you know, in any way. I am sitting here in Boschberg post office, and that's where I'm going to remain for the foreseeable. Even if everyone dies and we lose the war, you know what happened to me? Nothing. The worst that will happen is the country will get poorer. So it'll be inconvenient, or I'll struggle for food for a bit, but that's not worth risking your life for. I wouldn't risk mine for that, so don't you risk yours. I understand what you're trying to do. I really, really do. But do you not see how disproportionate it is for you to go seeking death for glory just for the sake of sparing me some headaches in later life? Stuff like this has its time and place, but if you're only going away for my sake, it's totally unnecessary. I'm behind the lines in Boschberg, and I always will be. It's not about any of that. What? How can it? Oof, goddammit. It's about me and you. What are you even talking about? Oof. This man be about to propose. Before I can really register what's happening, August steps forward and takes my hands in his. He begins to speak once more, but his tone is different. His hands carry a determination previously only hinted at. All my life, you've been better. You've always been better than me at everything. Better in school, better at talking to people, better at sports. But this is something only I can do. Finally, something I'm the best at. You will not be the best. Finally, something that's actually going to impress you. This will not impress Elfriede. Elfriede, she has shown that she is not impressed by war, and not by death, of people close to her. It's the one thing you can't be is a man, a real man, but I can. Elfriede can be a man if she wants to be one. I'm not going to live my life like a frail child. I'll be tougher, I'll be better, and you'll finally know that you can rely on me. And what if you die? What about the chance that a self-confessed frail child goes over there and just vanishes without a trace. I've always said, if that happens, then I've died for you. Not for wrestling, not for justice or politics. I have died for you. This war is entirely politics, that's all it is. What are you talking about? August, you don't have to prove anything to me. You so obviously don't. All I know is I will never have been able to look in a mirror again if I let this chance slip through my fingers. If it isn't meant to be, then it isn't meant to be. If I die, then I die. But I can't just let this chance pass me by. If... this is embarrassing. What I'm trying to say is, if we have any kind of future, then I need to do this. Well, oh boy. Well, he's certainly trying very hard. He is very certainly trying very hard. I actually kind of don't want to touch this topic right now. This future kind of thing, if he isn't... And I will borrow his words, man enough to confess right now. Then I will not touch it either. Our future will be fine either way. Frida, I'll always be here for you. You must be aware of that. Yeah? But I need to be stronger, much stronger. You don't need to. You're the most important person left in my life. Everyone else leaves me. They die or they have enough of me and they go. But you've always been here. And I've never repaid you. I've only ever cared about being able to do something worthwhile for you. To be able to give you a good life, above all else. Are we married? I don't think so. You're talking awfully like we're married, dude. And I've not even managed the first thing yet, let alone the second, that's true. Eugen offered me a job at the fields, a good one, but I said I would work here with you. But that was a stupid idea. I never grew up, and I never became anyone worth your time. August releases my hands and straightens up his posture once more. He calms a little, but right now that's not reassuring, it's infuriating. August, you repay me by being here with me. How the hell are you going to do that if you're dead? My plans are flexible. If that happens, at least I won't live a guilty life. It's all about your self-satisfaction, that's what it is. It's not about her. And everyone will know that I gave everything for you. You think dying is going to help a friendship? I knew he was gonna bite at that. But I felt the strong need to make it clear that they are indeed not married or anything. So my boy, you are forgetting the very first thing. You know? Friendship. Yes, why would you do any of this just for a friend? Because clearly there's nothing else I can do for her. What? Whether you want me or not, I can be the man you deserve. I can put my life on the line for you. And if I die, then I die knowing I'm as much of a man as any other. And that will always be true. I didn't know I'd driven him to feel this way. He doesn't need to impress me. Why does he care what I think? No, he doesn't even really care what you think. He's caring about what he thinks about himself, Elfriede. Now the stupid boy has signed his life away, and not even Eugen, the eternal optimist, can say for sure if he'll make it back. It's getting late. Yeah, thanks for the tea. What time are you leaving tomorrow? The crack of dawn. Are you... Miss Rose, would you like to... Yes, I'll come and see you off at the station. Good. Quiet calm. Things are deflating. Think we both know that whatever happens, and whatever could have been, all we can do now is wait. Are you still going to visit Hilda's grave? I'll be heavily fatigued tomorrow if I take a hour-long detour to visit the grave of my pet rabbit from primary school. Okay, yes, good point. We'll not go. That isn't what I said. We took a walk to Hilda's grave on the outskirts of town. August had dug her a little one on the edge of the big cemetery. It was a somber moment. Was someone we knew going to end up here sooner than they would like? Eugen? Wolf? August? Hopefully everything would be alright. Hopefully everything would be over before Christmas, like people have been saying. Maybe everyone would come back fine. Maybe it's like Eugen said. Death happens to other people. It never does. But if he's wrong, it doesn't bear thinking about that. And early the next morning, I set out to fulfill my promise. The train station is teeming with men in uniform and the family seeing them off. I told August I would meet him here, but he's cutting it roaringly fine. I feel awkward being the only unoccupied woman here, but I realize that nobody's looking at me. Everyone's preoccupied with their own affairs. Oh, Elfriede! All of a sudden Eugen's jaunty tone rings out across the platform and he saunters up to me. He appears to be alone too. Eugen, is your mother here? Unfortunately, I have made my farewell this morning. Mrs. Reinhold's fever has flared up once more and she remains bedridden. Oh, sorry to hear that. Still, it's comforting to see a familiar face among the tall folk after all. You are a veritable ray of sunshine in this chilly, foggy morning. As usual, one has to try and isolate the elements of sincerity in Eugen's speech, but this seems more sincere than usual. Not that that's saying much. How are you feeling? Understandably trepidatious, though I am confident that basic training will elevate my concerns regarding the Boschbeck's man's current nature as somewhat of a rebel. I look over other than men saying goodbye to their parents, wives and children, there are a large contingent hanging out of the train, roaring and singing. They certainly don't seem the most refined of gentlemen right now. Everyone's very excited, and I'm not sure they are necessarily in the most genteel frame of mind. Still, I am sure that by the time we find ourselves in Vermoral, a generous helping of military discipline will have long since curbed their more rambunctious tendencies. Out of the blue, Wolf sidles up to us. I guess he caught wind of this talk of degeneracy. Shut up. How can you just join the conversation with shut up? Don't concern yourself with the rabble. They'll be first out of the door. Wait, you mean... I mean, you better fix their behavior pretty damn sharpish, or they'll be pushing daisies. Doesn't make any difference to me, and it shouldn't make any difference to you. Flattered as I am that you chose to chip in with your valuable opinion at this moment in time, Houseman, Elfriede has come to see the venerable Boschbeck man off, and that's the best you can muster of flimsy provocations? Huh, I'm not sure why you came, Elfriede. Thanks, I guess. And I wasn't trying to provoke anyone, I was just saying. Doubt to be that forgiving out there. He's right. He's an asshole, but he's right. If you're gonna die, then it's gonna happen, isn't it? Don't bother worrying about them idiots. It's as fair as it can be. A free market of death. A lovely theory to be leaving us with, Wolf. Free Marketov? Elfriede, do not be so morbid. I wasn't. It was Wolf who... Oh, never mind. Sorry. And Hausmann, your words contained a single ounce of truth, and a man's competence was indeed genetic. Then what would be the purpose of strategy, eh? What strategy do we need? Teamwork. You do need teamwork in a war, you know. It's not every man for himself. Good soldiers kill bad ones, and every Leylandian's a bad one. Weak Westlingers die, you got soldiers left. Weak Leylandians die, they got none, we win. Yes, well, be that as it may, we cannot be leaving our compatriots behind with such wicked abandon. Whatever. Though I was helping, fine. Get the fuck. What? Thanks so much for coming over, Wolf. This is really useful so far. Shut up. Another cutting witticism for the conversational thrust and parry. And I must reiterate, Hausmann, precisely why are you here with us? Nothing else to do. Who are you here with? Can you not bother those poor souls instead? Granddad couldn't come. Wolf puts his hands in his pockets and slouches. Gazing scornfully at the touching scenes we're surrounded by, he looks grumpy and nobody's saying anything. This isn't going how I pictured it at all. Suddenly he takes a hand out of his pocket, clicks his fingers and looks at me. Well, I remember you should have this. From his breast pocket, Wolf produces a small rusted knife with a scratched, halfway rotten wooden handle. He pushes it into my hands. Handle first. He pushes it into my hands, handle first. Wolf's bad, but he's not a psychopath. Hang on, was this a special plan to give me this? Is this a sincere offering? No. What? Oh god, it is? Well, regardless, shouldn't you be keeping this? No. Don't know if the Rust gives it away, but this ain't exactly a military issue. They do give us actual weapons, this is just, I had this lying around. So Elfriede gets a farewell present, is that it, Hausmann, you dog? It's not a present. She said last night about feeling safe. But you never know what them Leylandians are gonna try. I wouldn't put it past them to come and sneak into a place like this. So, knife. Oh. Well, thank you, Wolf. The hell am I going to do with this? It's rude to throw it away now. So, I just sort of got a dirty old knife on me. Thanks, Wolf. A whistle rings out across the platform, and a voice can be heard beckoning passengers to board. The men share one last embrace with the families and begin to gravitate towards the train. Where's August? I have no idea. Oh, goddammit. If he does not act fast, he might find himself missing this dispatch altogether. He'll technically be deserting. I'm sure they will be lenient. When it's particularly hapless civilians turning soldier overnight, they are bound to struggle with discipline initially. But the war will probably be over by the time he finally makes his way to the field. It is indeed a tragedy that at this rate he will not find his absolution. This is it then. Farewell, Elfriede. May the gods reunite us before too long. See you. Yeah, goodbye, you two. Eugen bows before taking my hand and landing a peck on it. Ew. I'm too stunned to really respond to that. But I know that's just gentlemanly dickrum. Meanwhile, Wolf rolls his eye and grunts disapproval. And without a further word, the two hurry on board the train. Once everyone has boarded and the conductors are making the final checks on the platform, the slamming of a heavy gate can be heard, followed immediately by a familiar squawking. Wait! Oh my gosh, wait! What were you doing, boy? August sprints into the platform in full uniform and dragging a heavy bag over his shoulder. Catching sight of me as he passes, he skids to an halt. Elfriede, I'm so sorry. I lost track of time. Elfriede, it means the world that you came to. Go! Yep, okay. August runs past the flurry, hurling this small bag of personal effects into the nearest carriage. Just before embarking, he runs back to me. He stands frozen, his eyes meet mine. Elfriede. August shuts his eye and takes a deep breath. He opens his mouth to speak, and a second whistle rings out, while a cloud of thick smoke gushes skywards. He leaps up, his panic is palpable. Go! Yes, bye! He sprints for the train, practically jumping aboard. As it steams off, I wave Eugen and August as they hang out of the window amidst a crowd of men with similar ideas. I really wonder how Elfriede's gonna get involved in the war. And then they're gone. Oh, big time skip. 6 months later. It's been a little while. August wrote try some basic training, saying how everyone is getting on. He struggled at first, but then things really started to come together for him once he got into the mindset. Eugen was being as verbose and flamboyant as ever, but ultimately didn't have too much trouble. He enjoyed the challenge of taking his higher-ups' orders. His attitude raised eyebrows initially, but the Boschberger still revered him as somewhat of an elder brother. Some of them are well into the 40s, so I guess it says a lot about Eugen's spirit. That and the bizarre atmosphere. Surprisingly, Wolf was antisocial, and unsurprisingly, Wolf was antisocial and difficult. He handled the demanding workload well, but remained obstinate and was regularly disciplined for his attitude towards his superiors. Training took a couple of months in total, and we've only received one letter from August since then, telling me the Boschberg fellows had been assigned to the 28th Infantry, I believe, and dispatched to the front, and that they were engaged in digging a trench, which apparently they're living in for the time being. It hardly sounded like the most dynamic tactical maneuver, but I later learned that these trenches had stretched across the whole of Levasseur, and that the whole thing was currently somewhat of a stalemate. Our boss is still stationed in Vermont, but soldiers of each side are now lined up across the entire country. The fighting's due to be widespread indeed. While it's comforting to know where everyone is, Vermont's not actually too far away, hardly the grand odyssey Eugen was waxing lyrically about. That over by Christmas thing didn't happen, by the way. It's mid-January now. But hopefully we can all still enjoy spring. Etegos, on our eastern border, joined the war pretty recently, and they're on our side. Oh, thank God. They're only a small country, but they ought to balance out Leyland's support from Levasseur. There are a bunch of treaties in place preventing Etegosian forces entering Leyland on the eastern front. The war's in Levasseur, and apparently that's being respected. And given the war is in Levasseur, the Levasseur regiments among our enemy are hardly afforded a great deal of maneuverability. I cannot pronounce it properly. I know how it's pronounced though. So things are looking good for us. Sorry, none of that is really relevant. It is, actually. As for me, well, I'm doing August Postal Road. It's harder than he made it seem. I messed up so many times. Turns out he was better than me at something all along. It's only memorizing addresses, so it hardly would have vindicated him to know that, but nonetheless. The men haven't written in a couple of weeks now. Every day I check the post bag, but nothing. It would be nice to confirm the location hasn't changed, among other things, like whether or not they still walk this earth. News of casualties trickle in every now and again, and they seem heavier than people first suspected. There's few enough that the fellows are unlikely to have become aesthetic but confirmation would still be very comforting indeed. Reinhold Manor is one of my last stops today. As I walk back down the front path, I look to one of the fields and spy a commotion unfolding. Hang on. I recognize the figure being accosted. Oh, Gerhard again. Excuse me, ma'am. I just want to... Oof. You heard me, pig. What the hell do you think you're playing at? Just milling about like nothing's wrong? I just want to work. I can't even look at you. You're polluting this town with your cowardice. You stay away from my family. I'm not planning on bothering your family. Oh, I've got to warn your daughters about this one. I've told mine already. I ain't letting them anywhere near the gene pool, don't worry. Oof. That's not the primary thing on my... I'm trying to prune this... Coming to work like everything's fine. Just showing your damn faces in, so dear. Yes, very helpful, thank you. This is a regular enough occurrence. For the first few weeks, Gerhard would fight back like in the pub that time, but by this point, his spirit has been all but entirely sapped. Aside from the most accusatory concussions to fluster, he simply nods his head, endures the town people's abuse, and growls half-hearted acknowledgements. Speak up, you grub! My husband's out in the Wehr, all ready to fight, and you're here pruning Blaurose? It's important. Someone has to do it. What are you even talking? That's why you should say. What you should say about the wall, dear. We can handle the gardens ourselves. How dare you just lie low with us while our men are out over there, you chicken? The gunner lunges forward and slaps Gerhard across the face. Though very obviously knocked backwards, he makes a conscious effort to not acknowledge the hit. He shakily regains his footing and fixated on his work. Yep. Eventually the gardeners appear to get bored and go back to their work, pointedly ignoring Gerhard. I see this a lot. I decide that today I'll say something. As I approach, he raises his hand from the roses and his eyes meet mine. He looks tired. Mr. Lear? Gerhard sighs powerfully, lays down his shears and motions for my presumed barrage of insults to proceed. No, it's me, Elfriede. From the Kaiser's Arms that time? Oh, yeah, I remember you. How are you feeling? Never better. Being blasted with unfiltered scorn is my favorite pastime. Really? I have some kind of... I'm obviously being sarcastic. Oh, phew. I don't know what else to say. Maybe I shouldn't have charged in his quite so readily. Gerhard musters a shrug, picks up his clippers and kneels down again. After a couple of seconds he raises his head and mutters something. That time at the pub. I'm sorry about that. Don't worry about it. It was a very stressful time. I shouldn't have flown off the handle. The recruitment day was... It was actually quite... I said not to worry about it. You don't have to apologize. Thanks. I saw all that just now. Seems you're not the most popular man in town. No, not in the slightest. These women are taking over from the male laborers and gardeners, usually their husbands. So they verbally assault me every day, naturally. Sorry to hear about that. Well, at least it's not physical assault. It was. They physically assault me most days. Oh. Ah yes, that's right, the old slap. And I imagine it's often worse than that. I noticed Gerhard's been intermittently rubbing his arm throughout our conversation and is currently cradling his elbow. He seems to have bruises on both forearms. Well, when it comes to that, at least the men are gone. Not that the woman are any better. Gerhard winces dramatically. I mean, never mind. I mean, at least you're not being attacked by men. No, the remaining men attacked me too. What? Surely they are in the same boat as you. No, they are ones who are here for other reasons. Other reasons? What other reasons can these hoodlums have? They are old. Very old. Oh. And they still have the energy to hit you? He shifts uncomfortably. He stopped working completely now in favor of squinting up at me. He's matter of fact about all this, but you can see the shame bubbling away not too far under the surface. Gerhard, why didn't you want to go? Gerhard immediately drops the matter-of-fact thing and very quickly rises to leave. Whoa, okay, never mind. Forget I asked. Look, why aren't you beating me up? What? Why are you talking to me like I'm a normal person? Just out of interest. People don't usually do that. What do you... Why don't you hate me? You were close to August and Eugen, and you knew Wolf. They've gone off to fight. Can you even be around me? I don't think you're a bad person. I don't know your reasons, Gerhard, but you're not acting immorally. I'm at least certain of that much. You don't know that. None of us know that, not yet. Come on, this isn't the time for melodrama. It's still morning. You can't be melodramatic in the morning. You see me the same way you see that Sänger, don't you? As a cause for sympathy. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to try and help. I understand what you're going through, and you're obviously very troubled. Oh, troubled? I'm not troubled. I'm... Gerhard starts frantically searching for the opposite phrasing, running his hands through his hair as he thinks. I'm not weak. I'm strong. A strong one. A strong man, of all. The search for phrasing did not live up to its early promise. Gerhard, I didn't say you are weak. You did. You are what did. I need... Gerhard's mouth falls open and his arm drops down by his side. Every ounce of his will to continue very visibly leaves his body. I've got to go. Greenwork, housework. Urgent greenhouse. Greenwork. After that nonsensical almost excuse, Gerhard flees to the greenhouse. Employees only, needless to say. He said he wasn't troubled, but I'm pretty sure he was troubled. Can't slip these things past old Elfriede. Call me Sherlock Holmes. Hopefully not too many people saw us talking. My heart goes out to Gerhard, but I wouldn't want this woman coming after me by association. Understandable, but not a good thought to have. Having finished my shift, I am en route back to the post office when I come across a lone figure marching ostentatiously and very, very slowly across the town square. Ah, good afternoon, Elfriede. It's Helmut. Dressed in his busted, antiquated cavalry uniform and patrolling with a cranky 30-year-old service revolver poking from his jacket pocket. Looking at him like this, it's difficult to shake the unmistakable image of an old clockwork toy soldier winding down. Hello, Helmut. How was the patrol today? It's going well. Old Mrs. Zweig had prepared an excellent gâteau. Of which I was of course invited to partake. People like Helmut. The sheer obviousness of his disability means everyone knows he was spared from enlisting rather than simply opting not to, and he works so hard in the name of the war effort. Essentially, his standing in town couldn't be further from Gerhard's. He's been running into him almost every day, and we always have a quick chat. Training and combat maneuvers does tend to make one feel rather silly alone in the giant drill hall. But such is the life of a solitary home guardsman. I'm still taken aback that none of the retirees enlisted. I cannot blame them. Old Mr. Eckert has been asked to help at the ironwork in Hormacht. Old Miss Brooke has been lost to utter senility, and old Mr. Dahlmann's back is completely kaput. Helmut, you use a walking stick. But I'm 28 years old. I've yet to earn my right to be unfit for purpose. Nobody thinks that, Helmut. Combat training does take a couple of hours longer than the handbooks would suggest, and requires a lot more mid-drill sit-downs, but that's my only complaint. Well, if anything ever happens, we're glad to have you, Helmut. And it's good to see our last line of defense in high spirits. I did, however, commence my duties later than usual today, so I do need to make up for the lost time. You started late? A diligent captain like yourself? What happened? This morning was particularly bad for me in terms of my affliction. I was unable to rise for a long time, and when I could manage it, it was another hour or two before I could cope as normal. I am worried about you, dear. Do not push yourself, alright? You cannot fight a disability like it's an RPG boss. Trying harder will not result in it becoming better. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Please don't worry, I am used to it. We all have our obstacles to overcome, and I am grateful that mine is at least not anything more severe. It sounds like you handle it very well. Thank you, but not well enough. Handling it well will entail mastering my limitations to the extent where I can partake in active service. No. That does not mean that. Handling it well means living a fulfilled life with your disability. Not somehow becoming superhuman with it. Or without it. Helmut, that's impossible. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. I really shouldn't have. Helmut tries to smile, but undeniably blanches. For an ambitious man, it is a trifling matter. But I have never been an ambitious man until now, so there is certainly a learning curve. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you had this? Polio, I mean. You said it was since you were young. Practically all my life. I cannot, for instance, recall a single pre-polio memory. And you... I have accepted this as my fate. I was unable to leave my house when growing up, other than to slow walks, so I was quite categorically unable to play sports or make any real friends. The only time I've ever pushed myself was to get a job at the manor. As a gardener, though, and I roundly failed that application process. But Mrs. Reinhold took pity on me and told me I could work in a house if I could get the hang of it within a month, which was a very generous length of time to familiarize myself with the position. I'm not simply one of the manor's butlers, you know. I am Master Eugen's valet. It may seem like splitting hairs, but the duties are very much distinct. And the work expected of a valet is much less physical in nature. In other words, it was very much the perfect role for one such as myself. And to even be given the opportunity in the first place was a chance that I far from deserved. You did deserve it. Thank you. But I disagree. The universe doesn't owe old Zenger anything. Seriously, the amount you have struggled, the fact that you were willing to take a month to learn the ropes shows that you did deserve it. Helmut, I hadn't thought of it like that. You flatter me. But yes, even just the semblance of a normal life that I have today is entirely thanks to her. Master Eugen was very welcoming too. I know I am mere domestic servant, but I owe the Reinholds a lot for allowing me to even get this far in life. Well, if it helps, I don't think anybody is expecting you to be able to spring into action on the battlefield within the near future. I think it's more a problem within himself. You don't always have unrealistic expectations of yourself because others are expecting you it. Sometimes it's just yourself making your life harder. And that somehow makes it worse. If I could even just be like Mr. Lear, able to help, but at odds with the notion. That alone would be far preferable to, however you would describe this wretched state of affairs. A lot of people might disagree with that statement. Gerhard included. The sheer fact that Helmut's goodwill still extends to Gerhard. It feels like Gerhard's missing a trick, not taking up on his offer of friendship. Surely a man like him is ill-suited to war, and his motivations are far from Wolf's as you could imagine. I would comfortably place him in the August camp of wartime ambition. Anyway, enough from this old whack. I patrol alone, as it meant to be. Do not bother yourself with the trials of one who is currently unfit for greatness. Helmut, you are talking as if you're some retiree. You are not alone. And you're not unfit, you're disabled. It's not like you're an old man. No. Old men tend to have achieved something by the point that they are broken down. How do I react to this? You will not believe me when I say that you have achieved a lot. I know you won't believe me. You will just be like, yeah, but what could I have achieved with this leg? Honestly, he doesn't need his time to shine to be great. Honestly, all I value in life is kindness. Your time will come. I say this for you, it's not what I actually think. Yes, I very much hope so. A thin smile crosses Helmut's lips as he removes his spectacles and cleans them with a self-defeating grubby cloth from his pocket. His expression is one of resignation, calm and relaxed, but resigned nonetheless. Anyway, how are you finding your war work lately? The posts are out, it's manageable. I've covered for August at times over the years, so picking up every shift isn't too radical an increase in workload. That's good. The women of this town have been most patriotic in recent weeks. It fills my heart with joy to witness such unity and sacrifice from this fairer sex. I suppose if you spend all your time around the Reinholds, being moved to your core by unity and sacrifice, that seems like a normal thing to discuss. It's only a postal road, and I wouldn't say I'm unpatriotic, but I'm doing this to help the post office run smoothly. I'm hardly going out every day under the impression that I'm winning us the war. Nonetheless, the selfless act is a selfless act, and I'm rather consistently impressed with your enthusiasm for your work. Please apply your own standards to yourself. I'm not doing anything special, and my enthusiasm is but a shadow of August's deranged verve. But still, it's been a while since anyone last wrote, and the strain is starting to get to me. It's nice to be appreciated. Thanks, I have been trying. And forgive me if this is speaking out of line, but I saw this the other day and I thought of you. Helmut reaches out into his jacket pocket, precariously maneuvering around his liability of a firearm, so as to not to discharge into his tie, and produces a tattered handbill. Field postwoman required? The postal corps? Interesting. They're targeting women for this? It's definitely something, if I remember right at least. Women were a lot busy with giving messengers during wars, being spies and the like, and of course to tend to the wounded. It's a very important job as well, especially considering that information is everything. It would seem so, yes. And they say it could prove dangerous. I assumed as much, but it's strange to see it in black and white like that. Once more, forgive my forwardness, it is entirely understandable, if that element means that the outfit holds little appeal for you. But I thought you might potentially be interested in this kind of thing. No, thanks for bringing this to my attention, it's certainly food for thought. Oh, good. I did not want to speak out of turn and presume the altruistic inclinations of others to rival mine, but I can see in this case that I might not have been too far off the mark. Something bothers me though. Why are they getting women for this if it resembles active service? The nurses at the field hospital venture towards the front on occasion, so I propose somewhat of a precedent has been set. But they have field postmen already and they're male. I've met them on the way out through town. This verdict was only issued yesterday, I believe. It seems that the existing field postmen represent manpower that has rapidly become much more useful on the front lines. That feels ominous. Is that ominous? Surely that's quite ominous. I would not necessarily read it as a call for surplus troops. They're clearly just redistributing their resources. The Westlanger military is the most efficient and calculated in the world, so they say. This is a reshuffle, certainly, but based only on the first few weeks' administrative reports, I would say. Well, I'm sure that's it then. Miss Rouse, our generals are entrusting us with the most precious resource they have, the morale and well-being of the nation. The least we can do is place our faith in their abilities as leaders of men. Yeah, you're right. Oh rats, I better get back to the post office. Miller's going to be wondering where I am. Apologies for keeping you. Speak tomorrow, I imagine. Yes, I'm sure. I run back to the post office, worried about what Miller's going to say. Okay, and I'm going to end this part right here. Well, now we know how our good Elfriede is probably going to end up in the front lines on the war. So then we'll see how she, well, actually ends up there. Next time, maybe. So until then, bye!